Okay, Itamak Skanatani. It is the morning of June 9th, 2017 in the lunar cycle Tiskit Satos, the flower moon, and we're about midway through that cycle, full moon time. I'm on my way to the north side of town to look at a fledgling crow. Some people know, some people don't, that in addition to rattlesnakes, I also relocate skunks, raccoons, porcupines, and I get called quite often to assist with injured birds, some of which I pass on to the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center in Calgary, and others, particularly non-licensed species that might be euthanized if I bring them elsewhere, I'll take care of myself. So last night we had a big storm, and this is kind of typical of this time of the year when there are corvid fledglings about. Corvids being crows, ravens, magpies, jays. And we're not in the really deadly period for them yet, but that's coming soon as they start following their parents and picking food off of the road and this kind of thing. Just yesterday, I got a fledgling crow brought to me, and it was crippled with a disease, not a disease, but it's something that happens to crows fairly often if the mother's not giving the hatchlings appropriate nourishment at the right time. It might even happen in the egg. It might even happen that early. But basically, they get their bones of their legs in particular don't grow right, don't develop correctly, and so they end up permanently crippled, and I try to find homes. I was lucky yesterday, I was able to find a home right away, a permanent home, somebody to adopt it. This one this morning, I don't know if it's actually injured or if it just fell out of the nest from the storm last night, and it's just not ready to really be fledged yet. So apparently the crow parent is around, one of the mothers or fathers or what have you, and the bird has been hunkered up against somebody's garage for the past since the storm. So I'm gonna check it out. A lot of times with the storms, you'll have a baby that just freaks out because of lightning or thunder, jumps out of the nest. Sometimes they'll get a concussion, and with concussed birds, it can go either way. You can have a full recovery in a very short period of time and be able to rewild them right away, or it can go the exact opposite way, and they just succumb to it and they die. So hopefully that's not the case with this bird. We're gonna go see her. The person who reported it to me has named it Sheryl Crow. All right, so we got parent crows. Hello.
I think Mom's pretty upset.
Yeah. Hey, baby. She's right here. Hey, Cheryl. How you doing? Are you okay? Let's just check you out. All right. Your wings are okay? Oh yeah. All right. happy. Just gonna put her back over here where the nesting area is. Whoa, whoa. All right, calm down. That's up here. Up here. There you go. There you go. Whoa, whoa. What? You're gonna fall off again. Hey, come here. Come here, come here. Come here, Cheryl. Stay up. Ah. Come on. Whoa. All right. Let it be.
They're making a lot of noise.
Yeah, one of the babies was down across the street from the storm. There's Cheryl, sitting in a tree. Yeah, so she was perfectly fine. Whenever I go check out a bird like that, I look for the obvious potential injuries. I look at the legs, check out the wings. And in this case, everything was working well. Her wings have perfect range of motion, muscular control, no obvious breaks or even sprains or anything like that. She was tucking just fine. Her legs were good. She was standing when I arrived there. She had full grip with her feet and her toes. So yeah, everything was good. She just either got scared out of the nest or blown out of the nest by the wind last night. Lots of branches and stuff down around town as I was driving through. So yeah, she just ended up on the ground and needed a hand up back into the tree. I originally thought that she belonged in the tree across the street because that's where all the adult crows who were kind of mobbing at the scene, that's where they had all congregated to observe. And so I went to go put her there. The resident there came out and told me that he thought that the nest was actually across the street. That's where he'd seen the crows going in and out of the last little while. So then I retrieved her and moved her across the street. Either way, she's just fine. I just wanted to make sure she was out of range for cats and that kind of thing. So up in the tree, even in the lower branches, she should be fine. Parents and extended family are obviously there ready to take care of her, so no need for her to go anywhere. And that's one of the things, in this season, a lot of young fledgling birds are mistaken for injured, and they're brought to wildlife rehabilitation centers all over the place. Really, a lot of them are just their first sojourn out of the nest and such, and they're just fine if they're left alone or placed, out of range of cats like this. So I always look for a bush or a tree or somewhere where I can lift a fledgling up off of the ground, get him in a safer situation. So yeah, that was a happy ending to that story. No treatment or needed, and no help further than just returning her to her parents in a little bit of a safer place. So it's now the evening of Sunday, June 11th, and the rattlesnake lines have been quiet for the weekend. I have, however, had other bird issues, and right now I'm on my way to one. There's apparently a woodpecker out outside of the storefront of the Southside Safeway. I imagine that it is a northern flicker fledgling, probably dropped out of a nesting cavity that's in the carved into the storefront of Safeway itself. This is something that the flickers have been doing because the construction companies the last decade or so have been using this foam material instead of real wood when they're making pillars and these kind of things. So anyway, I'm gonna go check it out. Alright, so at the Safeway, where there's a couple here who are on to the bird already. I'm gonna try to get it back in the it's gonna be really, really close, eh?
Very last rung.
He'll try to jump out. Where'd the ladder come from? It's my husband's. Oh, okay. Well, he's used to climbing.
At my age,
He's used to climbing heights, but that's still got to reach once he gets to the top. Oh, he's falling out! Go on, grab him!
No, no,
Oh.
Yeah, this looks like it's probably more of the hole than the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were in that hole earlier today. He's singing away, and everybody was looking up, and I saw him sticking his head up. Silly bird. You're pretty big for a baby. Yeah, he's almost ready to fly. Pushing him.
He's probably just about ready to come out.
Yeah, he's just about ready. He can kind of flap, but he doesn't go anywhere.
There we go.
Stay out there. Don't come out. Yeah, little
There are babies in there.
Is there more?
Sure.
Well, that worked out good. Worked out probably, well, for sure better than it would have if I'd have showed up alone without Buddy with the ladder. I mean, there's no better solution than actually putting the bird like right back in the nest. It is interesting to note that that new material being used in the architecture is inviting flickers to build nesting cavities, and there's really, at this point, there's no way around it. If your home or your building is made with that material, the invitation's there, and you can trap and relocate or even kill as many birds as you want. It's just going to create an open space for more that are going to end up moving in there. I've been called in on a couple of places like this for advisement on what to do with the birds, and the reality is there's nothing to do with the birds. What needs to be done is that you know, when they're considering using new construction materials or methods and such, they might want to touch base with ecological consultants in the area that they're going to use these materials. And you know, once you run into a problem like that, what can you do? You have to really retrofit the whole thing. Basically, you'd have to put some kind of mesh, metal mesh on top of the existing stucco-faced foam. So put the metal mesh on there and then add a new layer of stucco. It's going to cost, but that's the way it is because the ecology wasn't taken into consideration. So anyway, happy story for the flicker fledgling that fell from its nest, and really nice to see that there's a lot of good people out here. And you know, if I hadn't run to the scene, things would have been just fine. Buddy would have got him back in the nest, and actually his plan was better than mine. So Really, really good save.